Did you know that for $800 you can get a great system for both 1080p and 1440p resolution? So if you have around $800 to spend and you want a PC with 0% bottleneck, that's going to work perfectly fine, and on top of that you will be able to play everything 1440p resolution with no FPS drops. Also, if you're a beginner, don't worry, because I will explain what this PC is capable of running and the estimated FPS average for both resolutions. You will have the links to all of the components down below in the video description. With the CPU we have the AMD Ryzen 5 5600. This is a 6-core 12-thread processor going for $145. Really good budget CPU. Honestly, it has been the best budget CPU for a while now, and it's going to work great with most GPUs without bottlenecking them. Then for the motherboard we have the Gigabyte B550 Gaming X. This one is amazing for the price at the moment. It's only $100 and it's upgradable over time if you want a new CPU from the AM4 platform. For example, if you want to upgrade to the Ryzen 7 5800X3D, which is one of the best CPUs for gaming on the market as well, you can do it pretty easily, and the VRMs are going to be just fine. If you're a beginner and you don't understand any of this, don't worry, it only means that future CPUs from AM4 are going to be supported on this motherboard, and the thermals are going to be just fine. Then for the memory kit we have the Silicon Power Gaming Kit. This is 16 gigs of RAM of DDR4 at 3200 MHz. I would recommend you upgrading to 32 gigs of RAM for around 20 extra bucks or so, especially if you want to do content creation or streaming at a high level. If you just want to do gaming, 16 gigs of RAM is going to be enough RAM for most games, but in my personal opinion, for just $20 extra you can get more RAM. That's a better bet, and that's going to be a better option, but it is going to be a bit above 800 bucks if you do that. But this PC is going to be slightly above 800 USD if you end up upgrading the RAM. Then for storage we have a 1TB Gen 4 SSD for just $28. Honestly, great drive, and it's going to be way faster than SATA SSDs and especially hard drives. Then for the graphics card and the most important component for gaming when it comes to performance, we have the RX 6750 XT. This graphics card is so good for the price that on an 11 game average at 1080p, it was able to average 138 FPS, and I'm talking about high demanding titles as well. If you want to play esports titles like Fortnite or Valorant, you will be able to achieve more than 240 FPS on average. So if you want a really high refresh rate monitor and you want to compete on this type of titles, this is a really great option. And if you want to play at 1440p on that same 11 game average on high to ultra settings, it was able to manage 97 FPS on average, so you can play at 1440p with no issues. Any title, honestly, 60 plus FPS on average depending on the settings. And once again, for esports titles, you will be able to achieve high FPS, so you can also get a 1440p high refresh rate monitor. If you want to play more high demanding titles such as Red Dead Redemption 2, you will have no issues with this type of games even at 1440p, because the RX 6750 XT has 12 gigs of VRAM, and that's why I picked AMD over Nvidia. Nvidia GPUs at this price point usually come with 8 gigs of VRAM, which is not going to be enough for the latest AAA titles on ultra settings, especially at 1440p resolution. If you are new to PCs, the difference between 12 gigs of VRAM and 8 gigs of VRAM is going to be the textures. If you have 8 gigs of VRAM and the game requires more in ultra settings, it's going to look horrible and it can cause FPS drops as well. Now, if you have 12 gigs of VRAM, this will not happen to you, because most titles at 1440p and 1080p ultra settings are not going to pass the limit of 12 gigs of VRAM. However, if you want to play at 4K, that's a different story. You may need more VRAM and a more capable system. So if you want a 4K monitor, or maybe you want to play at 1440p, everything on ultra, every single game, then I recommend you watching my video about the $1,000 best gaming PC for 4K and 1440p resolution. That PC is going to be way faster than this one for $200 extra. So if you can afford it, that PC is going to be much better than this one. Then for the case, we have the Montech Air 903 base. This one has 3 pre-installed fans, a beautiful front mesh panel, plenty of airflow, honestly, for just $65. So there are no complaints about this case in terms of airflow, especially with this build. And last but not least, we have the power supply. We have the FGA 700BR. This is a 700 watt 80 plus bronze power supply. Not the best one, C-tier rated, but it's going to be just fine with this build, so there's nothing really to worry about. The power supply market is really expensive at the moment, so this is one of the cheapest power supplies that you can get with decent quality, so thumbs up for this power supply on this type of build. The total price when I'm recording this video is $808, and maybe when you're watching this it's more expensive or maybe it's cheaper. I recommend you checking the latest prices in the links in the description to see if it's a good fit for you or not. Talking about links in the description, you will also have a link to my personal PC help option where I will recommend you a gaming PC for your budget and needs, and I will help you out with a ton of PC knowledge. Trust me when I say I'm going to save you a ton of money if you are a beginner, because most beginners usually choose a PC build that's either not compatible or is not going to get the performance that they want. Same goes for pre-built PCs. So if you want the best performance for the price and you want to make sure the PC that you're going to get is the right one for you, I recommend you getting personal PC help from me. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.